In a massive new warehouse in the Toronto area, grocery giant Sobeys has allowed the robots to take over. Up and down the grid they zip, going on to the next, seemingly before they grab the last. It's mesmerizing, a symphonic ballet of technology. And it's no small thing to say this is the automated warehouse of the future.
It takes 2 years to build a facility like the one I'm sitting in. It's a $100 million investment.
From an outside perspective, it's easy to say Sobeys lucked out in its timing. After all, the pandemic forced millions of Canadians to stay home and work remotely. Pre-COVID, online groceries with only a 1% market penetration wasn't exactly a raging success. Yet Sobeys made a choice 2 years ago. To distinguish itself from its competitors, it needed something big. So it invested the $100 million in new technology created by Ocado, a British company known for automated warehouses. Sobeys warehouse opened in the middle of the pandemic in June, and in just 8 months, the big bet appears to have paid off. Sarah Joyce is Senior Vice President of E-commerce for Sobeys.
We're seeing like a 3-year pull forward in what we expected of consumer behavior, so much more adoption, much quicker than we would have otherwise had. And as you probably have seen, 300% plus growth in online demand as a result.
The automated warehouse uses aspects of artificial intelligence, robotics, and big data. Everything from the website and mobile app to the facility's robots, and finally the routing and logistics to get orders where they're supposed to go. Here, humans do the grocery packing while the robots sort and restock. While shopping can take a few hours out of your day, Ocado's robots can help fulfill a 50-item order in 5 minutes.
They move 4 meters a second. They are just zipping past. It takes your breath away. You realize that there's nothing quite that productive in the world.
We're now well into the fourth industrial revolution, or Industry 4.0, which is all about automation and artificial intelligence. So how is Canada positioned for this massive shift? When Sean Ghaffari became Associate Dean of Applied Technology at Humber College in 2018, he saw the future of automation in Canada at a crossroads.
The stake is very, very high here because we are talking about the global competition, and a lot of countries in the world, they are ahead of us.
He looked at the programs in Canadian schools and saw a problem. Students were ill-prepared for this new wave. And Canadian companies, he believes, weren't going to invest in the future if there were few people qualified to take them there.
We just need to act fast. We just need to connect all of these dots together to finally address this skill gap which exists in the industry.
Today, there are 24 colleges in Ontario alone offering automation programs, along with mechatronics programs at 4 universities. That growth has attracted top students to the province, including Mauricio Toigo, who says it's not hard to quantify the opportunity. The Brazilian expat says even during a pandemic, graduates are finding jobs fast.
You have not only to invest in developing and implementing automation in our factories, but we also need people that are capable of working with those machines, that are capable of developing them. So the investment on the education side and the industry side has to go, at the same time.
What's the risk if we don't get this right?
The risk is that we're going to lose our manufacturing capabilities, and we're going to have to pretty much import everything that we want to use, and that's not really good for Canada as a whole.
The highly automated factory is still far in the future for most manufacturers.
Digital advancements and AI have changed jobs that were traditionally thought to be impossible to be automated. But it's happening. Think driverless cars, automated buses, and even computer-generated social media influencers. All this leads to the question, can humans and automation coexist?
Most of what's going to happen is that robots are going to complement people, not replace them outright. But the end result is still not so clear.
University of Waterloo economics professor Joel Blitt decided to take a long, hard look at what Canada needed to do post-pandemic. Automation, he concluded, was both inevitable and necessary to better compete with the rest of the world. It's just common sense that taking days to fulfill a curbside pickup order can't compete with Amazon's next-day delivery. If Canadian companies take the plunge into automation, Blitt predicts a hollowing out of the middle class.
But the thing I'm most worried about is potentially increasing inequality. Because even after these, the market settles down and people find new jobs, it's not the case that their new jobs are going to be as good as their old jobs.
History supports his argument. Middle-class jobs withered away as the Industrial Revolution took hold, leading to a surge in income inequality. In his book, The Technology Trap, Carl Frey writes it took decades for the lower class to recover. But if the same thing were to happen today, Canada, with its vast social safety net, isn't a bad place to be.
The places that seems to be doing better are the places that also have reasonable welfare systems like Sweden. So if you don't lose your health care with your job, you have less to worry about.
From its perspective, Sobeys refuses to see automation as a job killer. Will this result in fewer jobs, or have you had to hire people?
So it is absolutely the opposite. It is a job creation, and I believe that investments in innovation and in technology, as I said, they are not without people. You need the people as well, and they are, I think there's a perception one way, but the truth in our case is we're creating 1,500 jobs.
It's a point automation consultant Ben Angel agrees with, but the point as he sees it is moot, because Canadian industry has been slow to invest in new technology.
And I would say 80–90% of all my inquiries are outside Canada. Canadian companies, they know they have to innovate, they know they have to automate, but you can't fast track this. It's going to take a long time for customers to really come up with the proper budgets, because the automation is very expensive.
When Angel moved to Canada 20 years ago, the majority of robots in the country could be found in the auto sector. But even as Canada modernized, its warehouses didn't.
Well, our factories are actually well automated. That happened, the assembly line, that was automated 20–25 years ago. So our Canadian factories are well automated. No issues with that. But it's when that product is made, when it's moving to the warehouse. Our warehouses are full of forklifts. Canadian companies love their forklifts.
And that leads back to Sobeys and the investment in the automated warehouse robots, which has gone so well the company is moving ahead with 2 more sites in Quebec and Alberta. And when they eventually open a 4th, they'll be able to service 75% of the Canadian population.
We know we're onto something special, and we plan to keep rolling that out to as many Canadians as possible.